Here it is. אז פעם נוספת, חברים, שלום לכם וערב טוב, תודה שהצטרפתם אלינו גם לוובינר הזה בנושא ביטוחים בפורטוגל. ניסינו לרכז פה באמת את כל עולם הביטוחים בוא נגיד שהתמקדנו בשאלות שאנחנו יודעים שמטרידות את רוב הישראלים שנמצאים בפורטוגל, עובדים בפורטוגל, עוסקים בפורטוגל, חושבים על רילוקיישן, כל מיני דברים. אז יש פה כמה נושאי ביטוח שהם כמובן מאוד מוכרים ויחסית ברורים לרוב האנשים, אבל יש פה גם כמה דברים שהחלטנו לגעת בהם שהם אולי קצת פחות מוכרים, ודווקא פותחים את כיוון המחשבה למקומות קצת יותר מעניינים. כמו שאמרתי קודם, פאולו סילבה היקר נמצא כאן איתנו. פאולו הוא ברוקר של חברת DMS, ובעצם מייצג את רוב חברות הביטוח הגדולות בפורטוגל. אנחנו עובדים יחד כבר תקופה ארוכה, ויש פה כבר כמה חבר'ה שגם מכירים את פאולו. אז אנחנו באמת, כמו תמיד, נשמח לשאלות שלכם ולשיתופים שלכם, ותוך כדי אנחנו נשתדל לענות על הכל ולהנגיש לכם את כל המידע. אז אתם כבר, לפחות רובכם, אני משער שמכירים את בורטוקלה, את מי שאנחנו ומה שאנחנו עושים, פורטל העסקים של ישראלים בפורטוגל. אנחנו משתדלים להנגיש את כמה שאפשר, כל הנושאים שמעניינים ישראלים בפורטוגל ברמה העסקית, וגם ברמות אולי קצת אחרות, בנושא רילוקיישן וכאלה. כמו שאמרתי, היום הוובינר נערך בשיתוף DMS ברוקר, פאולו סילבה כאן איתנו. פאולו, you are more than welcome to say hello for the first time for everyone.
Hello everyone, thank you very much for attending. So I didn't understand anything that you said, but it was amazing. It was amazing. Everything.
It was, yes. We practiced a lot during the last week. Yes, it turned out well. גם הוובינר הזה הוא חלק מסדרת הוובינרים שלנו, ישראלים ופורטוגל, באמת על המון נושאים. אתם יכולים לקרוא פה את הרשימה של הנושאים, ממיסוי דרך רילוקיישן, מערכת החינוך, פערי תרבות בעולם העבודה, you name it. אנחנו באמת כיסינו ומכסים עדיין המון נושאים שזמינים אצלנו בפורטל, ואתם לגמרי מוזמנים להיכנס וללמוד ולהכיר ולשאול שאלות, ואנחנו לגמרי פה בשבילכם. קצת על מה שהולך להיות היום, מי שמכיר אז בטח יודע, קצת מציגים, טיפה רקע כללי על ביטוחים בפורטוגל, ואז נתחיל להעמיק לגבי סוגי ביטוחים, מספרים, דוגמאות, וגם סיפורים קצת יותר פיקנטיים שפאולו ליקט, שקשורים גם לחוויות שלו בעבודה מול לקוחות ישראלים, וגם כמובן בסוף כמה טיפים והזמנה שפאולו ישמח להזמין אתכם להצטרף אליו ולשירותים שלו, וכמובן שאלות. בסופו של דבר אנחנו פה כדי להנגיש את הידע ולעזור לכם לקבל בהירות לגבי כל מה שאולי לא כל כך ברור. אז במהלך הוובינר שלנו אתם מוזמנים לכתוב לנו בצ'אט את כל מה שמעניין אתכם, תהיות לגבי סוגי חברות והבדלים בין הפוליסות, סוגי כיסויים, העלויות, מה התועלת של כל סוג כיסוי, כל מיני דברים כאלה, ובאופן כללי שאלות ביטוחיות ותהיות כאלה ואחרות שקשורות לנושא. אנחנו מאוד נשתדל לענות ולתת את הפתרון שמתאים לכם, שהכי מתאים לכם. קצת עלינו, עבדכם הנאמן, אסף אייזנקוט, ויקירי ושותפי נועם, שאני לא יודע אם, כן, נועם פה. נועם, אתה רוצה להגיד שלום?
שלום לכולם, כיף לראות את כולכם פה.
אהלן. אז נועם יעזור לנו פה גם בצ'אט וגם בתמיכה בכל מה שצריך בוובינר, אז תרגישו חופשי לכתוב ולשאול. נועם, אתה מאשר אנשים בכניסה? מגניב, תודה רבה. וזהו, קצת עוד טיפה עלינו, אנחנו פה כדי להנגיש לכם הזדמנויות עסקיות ייחודיות, השקעות מעניינות ושירותים שכולכם צריכים, וגם מזמינים אתכם להצטרף לזה ולעזור לנו, לעזור לכולם. אתם מוזמנים מאוד 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 להצטרף לקהילת העסקים של בורטוקלה, גם פה ב-QR וגם נועם ישים לנו בצ'אט את הלינק, ואתם לחלוטין מאוד 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 מוזמנים להצטרף אלינו, אנחנו נשמח לעזרה שלכם ולתרומה שלכם, ויש להרבה אנשים דברים מאוד מאוד מעניינים לתרום לכולם. נקפוץ ישר לנושא, אז מה בעצם קורה עם ביטוחים בפורטוגל, ולמה זה כל כך מטריד אנשים? אז למען האמת, זה נושא שכל כך הרבה אנשים מדברים עליו, וכל כך הרבה דנו בו, והיו כל כך הרבה וובינרים וכאלה, וניסינו להבין מה הדבר השונה, ה-added value שאנחנו יכולים לתת לכם פה בערב הזה. השקעתם שעה מזמנכם כדי להקשיב למה שיש לפאולו ולי להגיד, ואולי גם קצת לחברים פה. אז באמת, יש המון מידע ומידע חלקי כזה ואחר, והרבה הטעיות, אז באנו לעשות קצת סדר. חשוב מאוד להכיר את מבנה הרשויות בפורטוגל, במיוחד הנושא של מערכת הבריאות ושירותים ממשלתיים, שהוא שונה מאוד מבישראל, אז מי שעושה את הצעדים הראשונים שלו ברילוקיישן, מתחיל להכיר כל מיני גופים, כמו עם שמות מוזרים, כמו פיננסש וכאלה, ואז גם מגיע העניין של מערכת הבריאות, וסנטרו דה סעוד, ומה ההבדל בין קופת חולים לזה וזה, יש כל מיני דברים שצריך להכיר, אז אנחנו פה גם באמת בשביל זה, כי החלק של ביטוח הבריאות הוא ככה פרק חשוב פה במה שאנחנו עושים היום, אז זה מתקשר גם לעולם המושגים, פערי השפה, שכמובן הם רלוונטיים בכל התחומים, המותגים השונים של הביטוח והפוליסות השונות, וגם כל מיני תחומי כיסוי ותחומי ביטוח כאלה שהם, יש להם איזה אופי טיפה שונה ממה שרוב האנשים מכירים, אז ככה לעשות קצת סדר. פאולו פה בסופו של דבר כדי לעזור לכם ולהנגיש עבורכם את המידע, אז אתם מוזמנים באמת לשאול כל מה שאתם רוצים, ולתת גם אפילו מקרים ספציפיים שלכם, שאולי אתם זקוקים לאיזשהו פתרון, אני מאמין שגם פאולו יוכל לעזור בזה. יש לו המון ניסיון עם המבוטח הישראלי, וגם כל מיני קיצורי דרך מעניינים, אז שווה להקשיב, כי הוא באמת יש לו המון ידע. ובאמת לחסוך קצת יותר בזמן ובכסף בכל התהליך הזה של חיפוש הפוליס המיוחלת. אז בלי יותר מדי לחפור, אפשר שפשוט אנחנו נצא לדרך. פאולו, I'm going to give you the stage. It's all yours.
Perfect. Thank you very much. First of all, let me thank you, Asaf, for the invite to be here, to speak with such an amazing ground that is the Israeli clients, the Israeli people that are coming to Portugal and are thinking about moving here. So everything that are saying about Portugal is true. It's amazing. So everyone is welcome here if you want to move here. And in terms of insurance, if I can help you, it will be a pleasure. Still, in this case, as you may be aware, it's possible to insure everything from heart to one cell phone. But in this case, we selected a couple of insurance that we believe that is a must-have for all the expats that are coming for Portugal. So we will try to talk a little bit about everything. Won't be that much because there's a lot of things to speak and possibly will be boring. So we will keep things flowing only for the essentials, okay? So let's move forward, Asaf. So this is the type of insurance that I believe that is mandatory for the expats that are coming to Portugal to understand, because you might be aware that the insurance system in the European Union, it's not the same in Israel. There are things that are quite different. So health insurance is something that we need to talk a little bit about it because it's very important. Car will be always the second insurance that most of the expats hire, because when they are coming to Portugal, in terms of public transports, Portugal is not that good. So most of the people buy a car, and so that's another type of insurance that you need to subscribe possibly. Then we have the life itself, the mortgage insurance that is also life. Then we will talk about a little bit about house and rent loss that are quite the same insurance, but with two different ways. And to finish, we will talk a little bit about travel insurance. That is also something that is quite important, and the civil liability for professionals, essential. So let's move forward. Let's start with health. So before start talk about the insurance, there are things that are quite important before subscriber insurance or thinking about moving to Portugal. So here we selected the 4 things that are most important to subscribe or to have in order before come to Portugal. So the most important thing is the NIF number. So it's the tax number that will be used when we are start subscribing insurance, because it will be your ID, since most of the people that are coming here doesn't have a European Union ID or a Portuguese citizen card. So the NIF number is I believe that is the most easy one to get it, and also it's the one that can replace the ID of the client at the beginning. So it's something that is quite important. The second thing is the bank account, because to have insurance, you need to pay the premium, and the insurance companies in Portugal, they are a little bit weird in terms of payments. It's not weird. They are used to work on a basis that is called the direct debit in the bank account. So basically, they just go to your bank account and they withdraw the money. You don't have to do anything. So it's a quite secure payment. But in order to do that, most of the times you need to have a Portuguese bank account. Even European Union bank accounts like Revolut, Wire, sometimes they don't accept it. Another thing that everyone has it's the ID. So we need a passport, in this case, subscribe the insurance, where we can check all the details of the client, the full name that will be under the insurance and everything. And another thing that is quite important is also the residential address. So most of the insurance, they will send the communications to the client to mailbox. For example, if you subscribe a health insurance, you will receive the cards of the health insurance by mailbox. So we need to have a residential address in order to send the communications to the client. Okay, in this case, it's possible to go around if you give an address of a friend, a lawyer address, or something like that. But still, it will be a matter of time to have to update the address that is in the insurance to your current address. So we are talking about avoiding waste of time and work, okay? So basically, this is the must-have. Let's pass to the health insurance. So the health insurance usually is the most the insurance that there are most people subscribing. Why? The most important thing that we have is our life. So our health depends on it. So this is quite important to understand that the Portuguese health system works on 2 ways. We have the public system and the private system. Okay. So one of the myths that most of the people that came to Portugal has it is that if they don't have residence in Portugal, or if they are not European Union citizens, they can't access the public system. That's a lie. Anyone can access the public system. Portugal belongs to the European Union. So here no one dies, or it's impossible to refuse to provide treatment to one client, okay? So even in terms of emergency in Portugal, if by some reason a client has an accident and he needs to go to an hospital through an ambulance or something like that, he will go immediately to the public system, and possibly he won't pay anything. So let's understand that the public system, it's available. The private system, it's a complement to the public. I will explain this more in front in order to understand how it goes and how it works. So for what I told before, the public system, it's amazing in terms of emergency. It's a matter of life or death. The public system is the best one. For other things like a flu, for the pain in your back, so the public system, it's a nightmare. Because why? Because they treat people according to the urgency of the case. If the client is arriving with more urgency and everyone is coming with more urgency, everyone will pass forward the client. So that's where the private system comes. If you want to do something that you don't want to wait, or for you in your perspective is urgent, like do an X-ray, echography, have an appointment with a dermatologist, there where it comes the private system that is quite easy to handle and is more accessible and more fast for the client. Okay, so having these in considerations, I believe that the private health system, it's a complement to the public, but still for clients that are coming from abroad, the IMA, that is the entity that is providing the residency, sometimes they ask the clients for a private health insurance. They need to provide a policy. Most of the times the clients bring like a travel insurance, or they subscribe the health insurance, the private health insurance, before they come into Portugal. Okay, so having this in consideration, private health insurance is a must-have, especially for people that have like kids. It's terrible to go to the public system. You know, it's amazing to go to the private because you can have an appointment in the next day, you can do the exams in the next day, and it's not quite expensive as people think. So in order to give the best offer to the client, what we do is that we study the needs of the client in terms of insurance, what he needs to have insurance, and the network that is better for his needs. That's why I have a topic here that says insurance company versus network. Why? The insurance company only provides the commercial points of the health insurance, how much you will pay, how much one appointment costs, how much an X-ray costs. The network is the system that handles all the hospitals and all the private health providers. So the most important thing is the network that you are choosing. So the insurance company, it's not very important, because if the insurance company works with a small network, the insurance won't be good for you, you know. So that's one thing that we need always to be balanced between the network that we choose and the insurance company that we choose also. Another thing that is quite important regarding health insurance, it's the grace period. So as people may aware, every time that a new client subscribe a new health insurance, there's a grace period at the beginning of the contract. Usually it's 90 days, 3 months. Why? Because otherwise people will be doing insurance in one day and using the insurance in the next day. Still, during the grace period, the client can use the insurance. You won't be able to access the capitals that the insurance company is giving for refunds and to spend in medical exams and appointments, but you will be able to go to the private system and have discount prices. You will pay like small prices from the same needs or appointments or medical exams. Okay, still during the grace period, for example, in case of sudden illness or accident, the policy is automatically activated and there's no grace period. Okay, so some clients sometimes they think, oh, I'm inside of the grace period, if something happens to me I don't have coverage. It's not true. It's a lie. Okay, if there's a sudden illness or an accident, the policy is immediately activated and the capitals are available for the client, because the client doesn't control that, you know. It's something that happens. So there's no possible way for them to don't cover the client and to support the treatments. Another thing that is quite important to be aware is the deductibles. So the deductibles are every time that you use the insurance, you have to pay a small deductible for one appointment or a medical treatment, X-ray or echography, MRI. Usually, for example, I'm going to give you the standard is that if you want to go to one appointment with a specialist doctor, like a dermatology, you may pay like 16 euros, 17 euros. That is quite cheap with insurance. To do X-rays like 5 euros. To do an MRI, that is the most expensive exam, is 65 euros. So the insurance in these terms, the prices are quite small, and the deductibles is just something that you have to pay always. It's possible to subscribe insurance without deductibles, but will be mad expensive, and it doesn't make sense for anyone to be paying such a high insurance just to don't pay the deductibles. Okay. Another thing that is quite funny regarding the private health insurance is the optional coverage. Usually the standard insurance, you have coverage for hospitalization and outpatient, meaning that hospitalization is in case that you need to perform a surgery or something like that, you have a capital available to spend on it, and outpatient capital, that is capital to spend in medical appointments and medical exams. Still, you can subscribe optional coverage like eyeglasses, dental, and medicine refund. This is quite important. Why? The eyeglasses, okay, it's a little bit easy because you have eyeglasses, you buy it, you submit the invoice to the insurance to refund, they pay you, it's done. Still, there are some tricks that people do here, that is, they want to buy sunglasses and they ask for an invoice with eyeglasses and they submit it for refund, so the insurance company pays. The dental is also the same. People are very creative. For example, in terms of dental coverage, usually everything that is aesthetics, like a whitening, it's not included. What people do here is that they go to the dentist and they ask the dentist to change the description of the invoice, and then the insurance supports the whitening. This is quite funny because people are very creative in terms of insurance, just don't pay anything, okay? The medicine is a little bit more tricky, you know? I'm going to explain why, and the medicine is quite important because in Portugal, most of the medicine is supported by the government. So meaning that every time that we need to buy, for example, in my case, if I need to buy medicine, I don't pay almost nothing because the government is paying for the medicine. Still, for people that are coming from outside, it's not like this. Before they get the visa residency, they get the health number and everything, they need to support the medicine. Still, this medicine is not quite expensive because the medicine that is expensive usually, I don't want to talk about this because it's a little bit weird, but the treatment for cancer, you know, that medicine is included in the hospitalization. It's not the same. This medicine is standard medicine like for headaches, for pain, body pain and stuff like that, okay? But still, it's a small capital that the insurance company can give you the money back that is spent on medicine. Another thing regarding this is the refunds. The refunds are quite important. Why? Because the refunds work outside of the network. This means that if you go inside of the network, you know how much you will pay, but still, you might want to go to a private doctor that works outside of the network, but is a very good doctor. It's amazing. So in these cases, you need to pay the expense and ask for the refund. So the insurance companies, most of them, they refund half of the amount that you are spending outside of the network. That is quite good. But still, there's another thing that is quite important, is the refunds when you use the insurance outside of Portugal, okay? Most of the insurance companies in Portugal, they provide coverage abroad, but inside of the European Union. Meaning that if you go to Spain, to France, to Germany, and you have an accident or something like that, and you need medical treatment, you need to pay it, and then you need to ask for the insurance company to refund you. They usually refund half of the amount. So this is also quite important to understand that the insurance that you are subscribing in Portugal also covers you inside of the European Union. Another thing that is quite important, and it's the last topic about the health insurance, is the coverage for pre-existing condition. This means that most of the insurance companies, the traditional ones, when it comes to pre-existing conditions, meaning that the client already has some kind of disease in the past or pathologies that he already treated, but he can't come back, most of the insurance companies, they don't cover it. They refuse to cover it. Usually they say, okay, I can give you coverage for everything except for your pre-existing condition. But in Portugal, there's one insurance company that covers pre-existing conditions after 1 year of grace period. So there's a solution for people that want to come to Portugal and there has some kind of pre-existing condition that the traditional insurance companies won't cover, but there's one insurance company that can cover it. And it's also a good health insurance.
That was super efficient, Paulo. I'm highly surprised.
Oh yes, but there's a lot more to speak, you know.
Yeah. So I guess maybe at this point we can get like 1 or 2 questions from people about the health insurance, and then we can move ahead. Is that okay for you?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So, חברים, אתם מוזמנים, אם יש לכם שאלה לגבי ביטוח בריאות, אני מאמין שחלקכם, הנה, יש לכם פה, יוני?
כן.
יוני?
ערב טוב.
קדימה. אהלן, ערב טוב.
So thank you for this. I have a quick question about, you were talking about the necessity of a NIF in order to get the health insurance. And
yes.
To the best of my knowledge, you only get a NIF if you're a Portuguese citizen. Here in Israel, we're not in the EU, so I'm trying to understand how does that work?
Okay, so the NIF for me is one of the most important things. Still, it's possible to subscribe insurance without NIF, but it will be much more harder and more complicated. But Asaf knows very well that it's possible to get NIF number in Israel without being in Portugal. For example, I'm going to give you an example. Most of the investors that are in Israel, in order for them to invest in Portugal, they must have a NIF number. And most of them never been in Portugal. Correct, Asaf?
Absolutely. Yoni, it's quite easy actually to get a NIF, even if you're not a resident. You just need to have, for your activity in Portugal, whatever financial activity in Portugal, for instance, to have a bank account, which is necessary for the insurance, you need to have a tax representative, which is the services that is provided by most lawyers.
Okay.
Okay.
So, and if one of there's my wife and myself, one of us is a Portuguese citizen, is that enough for the entire family?
Enough for what?
To receive a NIF,
you
so
don't have
to
be. You don't have to be even a Portuguese resident or a citizen to have a NIF.
Okay, understood. Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely, no problem. Ofri?
Yes, thank you, Paulo and Asaf. Quick question about the insurance, the possibility to get refunds. There is any limitation usually in those insurance limit you on how much refund you can get, or there are like some type of insurance that you can actually go to doctors outside the network and just get a refund?
Okay, so in terms of refunds, usually when you are subscribing the private health insurance, there are levels. So the capitals goes according to the value that you want to spend. For example, you can have 50K of hospitalization, 100K, €500,000. Okay, so the amount that you are subscribing is the limit of refund that you can get. Okay, when you subscribe the policy, they give you a document with all the capitals that you have and the maximum amount that you can get outside of the network.
Great, got it. Thank you very much.
Okay, sounds good. So, okay, we have one more, and then we move ahead. Okay. Hey, David. דוד, רוצה לשאול? אתה יכול לפתוח את המיקרופון שלך?
זהו, היה סגור.
אהלן.
Yeah, hi. My question is, what is the maximum age that companies, the medical insurance companies will accept people?
Okay, that's a great question. That's the small things that we can't talk about here, you know. So usually the standard insurance companies, when it comes to clients over 60, 65, they really don't want to have them as a client. Why? Because it's the time that they start to use the insurance a lot, you know, but still the insurance company that I spoke in the presentation that covers pre-existing condition, I can tell the name is called MGen. They don't have limit of age and they don't exclude no one and they don't invite no one to leave the insurance. So they are quite amazing, a little bit different the product that they have, but in these terms, they covers everything. They don't have limit of age and they don't ask no one to leave the insurance company.
But how much is it going to cost per month? I mean, if you are 65 or 70.
Okay, so the premiums, like
Yes.
all the other insurance companies, the rates goes accordingly to the age of the client. More old, more expensive. Still, the capitals, you need to check what is suitable because the higher capitals, more expensive. Lower capitals, less expensive. But still, for 65 years, the premium, I'm saying numbers, but for one person, possibly will be like 100 and something euros per month. It's not much, but in Portugal, it's a little bit of money.
Yes, no, it's reasonable.
Yes.
I mean,
But
if you
in this
compare it to
case-
the medical insurance in the United States, it's a different ballgame.
No,
That's a different
There's
game.
no comparison to the United States. None related to the United
Yeah.
States. Forget about it.
So 100 euros is okay.
Yes, but this is also a good topic because most of the people that come to Portugal from Israel, most of the times they tell me, Paulo, the capitals are so low, and I'm like, you are in Portugal. This is not Israel. The health services are not that expensive, you know.
Yeah.
But still, don't worry. The capitals are reasonable for the health service that we provide here in Portugal. It's according to our cost of life.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we're moving forward. Paulo.
Okay.
Okay,
Cars.
let's jump
Cars
in.
is also nice type of insurance. So basic requirements to have a car insurance in this case. So driving license, of course. Still, there are some things that already happened to me with Israeli clients. Is that I believe that in Israel you can take your driving license at 16. Correct, Asaf? Of 16 years.
I think, well, actually, I'm not even sure, but 17 maybe, as far as I remember, but I'm not sure.
Okay, because it already happened to me to have one client that the son was like 17, and here in Portugal, even if he has a driving license, he can't drive because in Portugal the law you only can drive after 18. So one thing to drive in Portugal, have a valid license, driving license, okay, and that's it, nothing else more. Okay, still there are some things that we need to talk a little bit about the car insurance, especially regarding the driving license. Why? Because there's a myth that everyone that is coming from abroad, they need to change the driving license. And that's a lie, okay? You don't need to change the driving license because Portugal has an agreement, I think it was like 70 years ago in Geneva and Vienna, that you don't have Israeli clients, Norwegian, Iceland, United States, Japan, Australia, and some countries, you don't need to change your driving license in Portugal. Still, if you have more than 60 years, you need to change it. And also, in terms of time, it will be a matter of time for you to have problems. Why? Because your current driving license will end at some point, and you have two options. Or you go to Israel and renew your driving license, or you need to change it in Portugal, okay? So This is something that the clients need to understand, that they can drive. There's no problem with that. Regarding the driving license, it's not mandatory to change, but it will be a matter of time, because when the expiration date arrives, they need to change it, or for the Portuguese, or they need to go to Israel. Another myth in Portugal regarding the car insurance. Anyone can drive your car. If you subscribe an insurance, the only thing that you need to do is that the owner of the car needs to be the insured person. So if you buy the car, the insurance must be in your name. For driving, anyone can drive if you allow. So most of the clients ask me, oh, do I need to put my wife's name, my son's name? No need. Anyone can drive the car. There's no issue with that, okay? Another thing that is quite important about the car insurance is the type of coverage. The most common in Portugal is the third-party coverage and own damage. Third-party coverage is the coverage that only covers you against everyone that is around you. For example, if you have a car accident and it's your fault, the insurance company will pay the repair of the other car, but won't pay your car. Okay, this is the third party. Own damage coverage. If you have an accident and it's your fault, the insurance company pays the repair of both cars. This looks amazing, but at the renewal of the policy, for sure, you will have a raise of the premium. You will need to pay more for insurance because you are a lazy driver. That's normal. But this is something that most of the times the clients have a little bit of doubts regarding the type of coverage. What I advise to my clients is that at the first year, since they don't know the roads in Portugal, please subscribe the own damage insurance. At the second year, do the third party, whatever you want. But the first year, it's very important because the clients don't know the roads, they don't know the traffic, the routes, everything. And just to be sure and everyone secure, the own damage usually is the best option at the first year. Another thing that is quite important to understand is the territorial scope. This means that the insurance is valid in all Europe and plus a few countries. When you subscribe a new insurance, the insurance company will give you one document that is called the green letter. That it's not the green letter, it's a white document, but they call it green letter. I don't know why. And in that green letter, you can check all the countries that you can drive your car. I believe that Macedonia and stuff like that, you can go to Norway. I think that even in Russia, you can drive your car in Ukraine. But in that letter, you can check everything. And all the countries, you have the coverage provided by the insurance company, like if you are in Portugal, okay? So this is basically that I think that is most common doubts regarding the car insurance. So I don't know, Asaf, if you have any questions. You are a driver in Portugal also.
Yeah. But I think that maybe it's a good time also to take two more questions from our guests. So if anybody has a question about car insurance, feel free to raise your hand or just open your microphone. Anyone? Or we can just move ahead because there's a lot to cover. Okay, so we're moving ahead.
Okay, so another important insurance is the life insurance. Usually there's two types of life insurance. That is the life itself that secures your life, and the one that is the life insurance that you need to provide to the bank in case that you need to buy an asset and you need a mortgage for the bank. Okay, so this is the most common type of insurance. The mortgage life insurance, most of the time is mandatory by the bank to subscribe it in order for them to approve the mortgage. Without this insurance, most of the banks don't provide loans to the clients. Okay, then the traditional life insurance, it's a case of mindset. I'm going to give you my example. I have a life insurance. Why I have a life insurance? Because I had a baby this year. So my thinking is that if something happens to me, my wife possibly won't provide the life that I want to my little one. So I subscribe the life insurance for me with a capital that in case that something happens to me, the money goes to raise my little one, or even in my case, a subscriber also with the optional coverage that in case that I can't work, the insurance company advance me the amount of the capital secured. So this is regarding the second topic, types of coverage beyond life and death, because usually people think, okay, life is just to secure life or death, because death, in case that you die, they pay the capital. Life, there are types of life insurance that they also pay you interest over your life. So it's a little bit crazy to the insurance company pays you to live, but it's true, this insurance exists in Portugal. But the optional coverage behind life and death usually is the ITP and the serious diseases. The ITP is in case that you have an accident and you can't work, a car accident, you have an accident playing some kind of sport, and you get an incapacity to work. So with this coverage, the insurance company gives the full amount that is secured for the death in this case, without you being dead. For the serious diseases, in case that you have a serious disease, like I hope that this never happened to anyone, but in case that you have a cancer, just with the diagnostic, the insurance company pays you the full amount in front. So this is really good in case in the event that you have a serious disease and you need the money to get treatment or to search the best options for you. So the insurance company basically gives you the amount in front for you to spend it however you want. So this is quite important in terms of life. I usually advise my clients to subscribe it, even if it's for lower capitals, but it's something that for the mindset, for the day basis, that you know that if something happens, everything will be okay. It's a very good feeling. So this is quite important. Another thing that is quite funny, it's factors that might impact premium. So insurance companies are so crazy that by your height and weight, they can ask you to pay more insurance. It's true, they cross the data. So there are some cases that they ask the clients to pay more high premium because they are overweighted. So usually what I do, Asaf, you can't record this part, is that I remove a few kilos, a few pounds from the clients in order for them to don't pay much, because it doesn't make sense. It's just stupid. It's just a way that they found to get more money from people, and I don't agree with that. So usually I do this. Another thing that also impact a little bit the premiums is like the health insurance, the pre-existing conditions. That it's possible that most of the insurance companies, if you have some type of pre-existing condition, they don't accept to cover you. But still, this cases to cases. Most of the times they will ask you to perform medical exam, to send medical reports, and they also will overcharge the client. So this is the basic of life insurance.
Okay, maybe I think one of the most common questions, at least recently, about mortgage life insurance is the war situation in Israel. And the fact that, that's a familiar word, right?
The territorial scope in this case is quite important. Why? For clients that are abroad, this means that the insurance companies, when it comes to territories that have conflicts or armed conflicts, they may exclude the client from the coverage of life. Still, in this case, Asaf raised a quite good question regarding the mortgage. It's a gray area. Why it's a gray area? Because the insurance companies, they state that if something happens to the client and it's directly linked to armed conflict, they don't pay. But they don't state if the client gets sick or for natural cause, a car accident, it happens inside of armed conflict. So right now, from my side, didn't happen to me yet. all the clients are okay, and I hope that they will be okay for a lot of years. But in this case, for the mortgage and the life insurance for clients that are in Israel, we are walking in a gray area. I need to be totally honest with with everyone.
Yeah, and there is a very, very high chance that if one of you is trying to get a life insurance from a company that is not aware of this situation and they don't have the experience, they might have a problem getting you the right insurance policy, and then your mortgage might be refused. So this is a very big flag to raise right now. If you're in the process of buying a property or getting a mortgage or a loan or whatever, you need a life insurance, and you still live in Israel, something to think about in advance. Okay.
Yes, but still, Asaf, it's a little bit weird because the client most of the times is obligated to subscribe the insurance to get the mortgage.
But it means that they just don't give them a mortgage.
Yes, otherwise they don't give the client the mortgage.
And sometimes, Paolo, some buyers signed already the CPCV, invested some sort of money, and then they are not able to complete the deal, and the deal is in risk. And and people, just because of the fact that they're not aware of that, the insurance might be the biggest challenge of the deal, which usually is not the case. So, and just because I know that it happened already, I know for a fact that it happened. So it's just something to point out.
What's up? I hope that the conflict ends soon.
Yes,
everything gets normal, and this won't be anymore a gray area.
Yes, absolutely. Chaverim, guys, do you have any more questions about this issue in specific before we move ahead? I know it's kind of quite a lot to digest, but we had to cover and touch like many subjects. So we're moving ahead, Paolo?
Yes, let's go.
Okay.
So now is the house insurance versus the rent loss insurance. Why I put this? Because this type of insurance usually it's mixed by the clients. So let's go part by part. House insurance, as the name says, is to secure the house, the walls itself. Okay, so this insurance is specifically dedicated to cover the house in case of fire, flooding, stuff like that can happen, natural disasters, a plane that crashes over the building, it's covered, it's stated in the terms and conditions. But in case of clients that are abroad and they have the apartment rented, the house insurance usually gives the client the option to subscribe an option of coverage for loss of rents. But this loss of rents is in case of natural disaster, not in case that the client doesn't pay the rents. So this is a big issue because most of the clients that I know, they subscribe this coverage thinking that, okay, I have coverage for loss of rents. If the tenant doesn't pay me, I will get the money from the insurance. And it's not true because they only get the money from the insurance company if the apartment gets there's a fire and the tenant can't live there and the tenant can't pay the rent to the landlord. So that's the only reason why I put this, in order to understand that house insurance and rent loss insurance are totally separated, are not the same insurance. So in both cases, as I state here, the type of coverage provided, I already spoke a little bit about it. The house secures the house, and the rent loss secures the rent loss in case that the client doesn't pay the rent. Still, there are some points regarding the rent loss that the insurance company demands. First, the premium is applied over the rent. So if the rent is 1,000 euros per month, the premium is like 3% for the rent. But the insurance company, in this case, what they do is that they only provide coverage if you have like the revenues of the client stated in the contract. Okay, For example, if you are renting the apartment to another expat that it doesn't have revenue in Portugal, the insurance company don't want to secure, because for them, it's a liability. What they do is that in the first year, they don't cover the rent loss, but after 1 year, they cover it because they feel more secure to provide coverage to the loss of rent. Since the client already pay 1 year, so possibly it will be okay. So this is something that we need to understand regarding the coverage of both insurance. One, secure the house in case of natural disaster, fire, etc. And the other one is just for the rent loss. Another thing that is quite important to understand about the house insurance that is also a little bit confusing from some clients is the reconstruction value versus the purchase value. This means that if you buy a house for 1 million euros, the insurance company won't secure the house for 1 million euros. Why? Because the insurance company, to rebuild the asset, they don't need 1 million euros. When you are buying one house, you are paying the location, the speculation, the plot of land, everything. And the insurance company, for the house insurance, they only cover the house itself, like the walls. So they only pay an amount per square meter to rebuild the house. So this is like a little bit confusing from some clients, because most of the time they say, oh, I pay 200K for one house and the insurance is only cover me for 100K. I say, okay, but to rebuild the house, the insurance company don't need 200K that you paid for the house. So this is something that most of the people struggle a little bit to understand it regarding the reconstruction value being more lower than the purchase value. Another thing is the civil liability versus the legal costs. So civil liability is regarding house insurance, legal costs is regarding the rent loss. Why? Civil liability covers everything that is around you. For example, if something falls from your house to the street and hits someone, it's the civil liability that covers it. It's like the car insurance. In the car insurance, you also have civil liability, because if you have an accident and you destroy one car, you destroy one house, and you destroy everything like a garden or everything, it's not the insurance company that will pay. It will be the civil liability that will support those costs, because the insurance company can't pay roads and everything, you know, everything that is destructed, that is not cars, is covered by the civil liability. Regarding houses, is the same. I put here civil liability also because most of the Israeli clients ask me for something that it's amazing. Everyone asks it. If something happens to anyone that is inside my house, they are covered. So this is quite a hot topic, because I understand that in Israel, people like to go to court because accidents that happen inside of the houses. In Portugal, doesn't work like that. If you have an accident inside of your house, of the house of anyone, it's an accident. No one needs to pay for it. No one wanted to do that. No one wanted that to happen, you know. So the civil liability usually comes here, but the civil liability is more regarding things that happen to third party, but not accidents. So in Portugal, it's impossible to secure something that happens inside of your house to a third party. For example, if you have a gas and your gas falls in the floor and break a leg, it's not covered because it's an accident. No one wanted to cause it. So the civil liability here can come in the way to provide medical treatment to the client if he needs, but he won't pay any indemnity. No money will be paid to the client. So this is quite a hot topic that most of the clients ask me. I understand that possibly is because what happens in Israel and here in Portugal, but it's something that people need to understand, that they are not secured inside of the house for accidents. And it's impossible to secure someone that is not identified. Otherwise, people will be simulating accidents inside of the houses just to get money from the insurance companies. Okay? The other topic, the legal costs, is regarding the rent loss insurance. So the rent loss insurance besides they support the loss of rents that the tenants doesn't pay, they also support all the legal costs to take the client to court, the tenant to court, to put him out of the house, to lawyers, to police, because in Portugal you have to pay the police if you want to put someone outside of a house. It's not for free. So all the legal costs involved in the process are supported by the insurance company. The client doesn't have to pay anything, okay? So this is the main topics that I believe that from the house insurance that people must be aware because it's the one that raise more questions.
Yeah, these are very, very strong topics, and I can tell you that since recently I've witnessed several cases that there was a problem with tenants that didn't pay the rent, and it took quite a long time to do anything about it, to evict them or to do anything. I know that for a fact that whoever bought an apartment and has the intention to rent it for a long term, it's a very, very important topic for you to at least consider. The rent loss insurance is something that most people are not even aware of, and it's something that that is important to consider. Any question from anyone about this issue? חברים, שאלות? Okay, seems like we're moving ahead. Okay.
But just to add that also, if you have a mortgage attached to the investment that you have and you don't have the rent loss insurance, you are putting money from your pocket every month. So you are paying the mortgage without receiving the rent. That's crazy, you know.
Yeah.
For people that are not here, I usually advise them to subscribe the rent loss insurance.
Yes, absolutely. אורי, אני חושב שפתחת שרצית להגיד משהו? Somebody raised their hand? אורי או אופרי? Okay.
I wanted to ask a question. The rent loss insurance, is it a percentage of the rent value?
Yes, it's a percentage. Usually they give to the client two options. Like I said, if the tenant has revenues in Portugal, they secure immediately the loss of rent. Usually it's 3% or something like that. If the client doesn't have revenues in Portugal, the client, no, the tenant, for example, an expat, a digital worker that is not here, so they only secure after 1 year. So they secure the legal costs. If the tenant doesn't have revenues, they secure the legal costs, but don't secure the rent. After 1 year, they secure the rent and the legal costs.
Okay.
Now, can I ask us a
Yes.
question? I'm going to buy an apartment as a company, and should I or can I do the same insurance by a company and not as a person?
Yes, it's the same. In this case and all the other cases, it's also possible to do the insurance through companies. Still, there's one. In this case, there's no change of value because this insurance goes over the amount of the rate. But for example, in cars insurance, the premium usually raises because they are supposed to be a car that will ride a lot more, will be more time on the road, so the risk is higher. And also there's a lot of clients that I have that they have companies, and what they do is that the health insurance of the family, they put in the company because in order to have expenses to don't pay taxes. So usually if you have a company, my advice is put everything there. Just don't pay taxes.
Interesting. I didn't think about the health insurance, but if you can put it there, of course I'll do it.
It's expense.
Yes, okay, great. Thank you.
Saf, we have Yoni.
Yes, thank you. I'm going back to the previous question that was just asked by Ori, and I wanted to make sure I understood correctly. If I form a company, it doesn't have to be a Portuguese company. If it's paying taxes in Portugal, I can expense the health insurance and the life insurance?
No, the company needs to be Portuguese.
Okay, and if it's a Portuguese company, I can expense my health insurance, my life
Yeah.
insurance, everything.
Yes, so here in Portugal, I have. It's interesting that you are asking me, because this week I had a meeting with one client that he also has a company, and he told me that in Israel, people don't put expenses inside of the company, like lunches, dinners, and everything. Here in Portugal, put everything. If you go dinner out, put the expense in the company. If you
I
have
can
a
put my
flight-
children's health insurance on it?
Sorry, the
My
children?
children's health insurance on it?
House insurance or children?
Health insurance of the
That-
children.
yes,
I
yes.
can put my children in it, but no, I'm asking if I can put my children's health
Yes.
insurance.
Yes, you can put the health insurance inside of the company. Yes, because the company is the taker, and you are a shareholder of the company. You are allowed to put whatever you want inside of the insurance.
Okay, interesting. Thank you.
Okay.
I have another question, please. About the
Yes,
company.
please.
Yes.
It's getting complicated. You see.
Yeah.
So if you can put the insurance and everything there, so at the beginning of the meeting, you said that you have to have a NIF and you have to have a bank account and so forth. So actually, you have to have. I just want to make sure that you have to have a bank account for the company and NIF for the company.
Yes, but you need to have a bank account for the company and a NIF for the company in order for the company be the taker of the insurance. So the company will be the owner of the insurance and will pay for it. But inside of the policy of the company, you need to identify the people that are secured. And also, I advise to have the NIF numbers of the people that is supposed to be secured inside of the policy.
Yes, of course. I just specifically, right now we have a bank account for the company, and we don't have bank account for ourselves. Although one of us is a Portuguese citizen, and the other has a NIF. So we have the NIF, but we don't have the bank account on our.
You can do for the company.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, guys, moving forward. Let's go.
Okay, travel insurance is also a good topic, because I'm aware that most of the people that are coming to Portugal, they subscribe the travel insurance in Israel. That is a lot more expensive than subscribing one travel insurance in Portugal. So the basic requirements to do the travel insurance when you are leaving from one country to come to Portugal is that you only can subscribe the insurance before you depart from the country of origin. For example, if you are coming to Portugal from Israel in the 10th of this month, you need to subscribe the insurance before 10th of this month. Otherwise, after you depart, after you catch the flight, it's impossible to secure, because the insurance company don't want to take the risk. Okay, this is one of the major requirements about the travel insurance. Another thing that is a little bit of myth regarding the travel insurance that most of the people aren't aware is that most of the companies give one coverage that is called for flights cancellation, and in case that you don't take it, you don't go to your travel. So basically, if you don't subscribe the insurance 1 week after you buy the tickets, the flight tickets, that coverage doesn't work. And most of the people aren't aware of that. There are people, oh, I will subscribe the coverage for the flight cancellation, and in case that I don't want to go, but I already bought the tickets 1 month ago. It doesn't cover. It needs to be maximum 1 week after you buy the tickets. Another thing is that the coverage provider, the travel insurance, usually they have a lot of coverage and some of them are a little bit weird. But the most common is like quite similar to the health insurance. They have hospitalization and outpatient capital. Still, they work as cases that you have a sudden illness, that you are abroad, you feel sick, you want a doctor. The travel insurance that we work with, they send a doctor to you and you don't pay anything. Or they send you to the nearest hospital and you don't pay anything. This is regarding the another topic that is after, the advance of funds abroad. Most of the insurance companies, usually what they do for travel insurance is that you need to pay everything and then they refund you. The insurance companies that we work for travel, you don't need to advance any funds. They take care of everything. You just need to call them and say, I'm sick, I'm here in this address, and they will say, okay, we will send you a doctor to you, or you need to go to this hospital that they are already waiting for you. So in terms of travel insurance, I can tell you for sure that our insurance is much more better than the traditional ones that you need to do fund advance. Still, I have here the last topic, scope and limitations. So it's possible to do insurance from Israel to Portugal, but it's not possible to do insurance from Portugal to Israel. Why? The same reason of life insurance, because there's a conflict armed, and for some political instability, travel insurance are not covered in this kind of territories. So I wanted to talk about this because it's something that lately we have a lot of demand, that clients that are coming to Portugal and they are subscribing the insurance in Israel. And I already have a huge issue with one client that he had an injury playing paddle and he needed the surgery, and the insurance companies say, okay, to do the surgery, come to Israel. We pay you the flight, but you need to do the surgery here. And the client said, I don't want to go ahead to Israel again. I want to do in Portugal. So he had to pay everything in Portugal, and the insurance company refunded half of the amount. But after that, the client need to do physiotherapy. And the travel insurance company say, we don't pay physiotherapy abroad. You need to come to Israel. So I had to do him a health insurance in order for him to do the treatment. So this is just an example to understand how these travel insurance most of the time are a little bit tricky if people are not aware of what they are subscribing.
Wow, very interesting. Okay, Ori, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what do you need in order to do the travel insurance in terms of NIF or insurance, or health insurance or something like this? Because now I'm in Israel and let's say I'm going to the United States and I want to have a health insurance.
Okay, so this is a great question. Not one, two, because I will split your question. So in order to do the travel insurance, you don't need NIF. With only your passport number, we can do it because it's a travel insurance. It's not supposed to be a staying here abroad. Also, I will add you something that I forgot to tell. The maximum time that you can stay abroad is 1 year. The travel insurance company that we work with, you can be in Portugal 1 year with their travel insurance. But let me split your question. If you are thinking to go to the United States from Israel, I only can give you the travel insurance if you pass in Portugal. If you go directly from Israel to the United States, I can't do that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Okay, one last question about travel insurance. All right, moving forward. By the way, Yoni Aronson, you asked about Paulo's details. So of course, I just shared the link to send Paulo your whatever you need from him. Just scroll down to that page. You can send everything that you need to Paulo.
Thank you.
Of course. Okay, next thing, professional liability. That's
Okay.
that's an interesting one. Yeah.
Yes, next one and last one. Okay, this is the insurance that usually are for professionals, people that come to Portugal and start to do some kind of professional that here it's mandatory to have insurance. There are some professionals. Asaf is one of them. He's an architect. It's mandatory to have a civil liability, a professional liability insurance in case that he designs a house and after 1 year the house falls apart. So this is one example, and there are a lot more types of professions that you must have this. So this is insurance usually works on two ways. You have the coverage for mistakes that can happen because of your professional. You can be a lawyer and for some reason you made a mistake and you lose the case. You can be a doctor and during a surgery something bad happened and now the family wants a compensation, a monetary compensation. So in this case, you have the civil liability of the professional insurance that supports this kind of thing. Then you have another thing that is the liability insurance that is regarding the damage that you may cause. Because, for example, if during your activity you made a mistake and you directly don't impact something, but your act will impact a third party and cause some damage, you need to have this insurance also, because they will come for you most of the times. It's not expensive insurance, let me say that. Most of the people think that it's very expensive, but they aren't, and there's a good reason to don't be so expensive, because here in Portugal, if you go to court, most of the times you will take ages, most of the times you will take a deal directly with the other lawyer, and even if you win the case, since our cost of life isn't that high, the compensation, the monetary compensation aren't that higher, okay? So this is something that some people, sometimes they forgot to subscribe. Another one says that don't want to spend money on this. But there are also some activities, for example, the engineer activities, they have like an entity that rules the engineer activity, and all the engineers, they only can belong to the entity and to perform their activity if they have the insurance, okay? This is some case. Still, I put here another topic. It's don't confuse civil liability and the work accidents, okay? So the professional is for the person itself that is covering the acts that they are taking by himself. But if you have employees, you need to have a work accidents for them and for yourself, because in case that some kind of accident happens in your space of work. Another thing that most of the people aren't aware regarding the work accidents, the work accidents covers all the employees of your company, inside of your company, during the activity, and from the transport from home to work, and from the work returning to home. If they have an accident in the routes for going to work or come back home, they are covered by the work accidents insurance, okay? So this is something that people are not aware, but it's good to have it. But okay, it's a kind of insurance that is a little bit more specific for that activity that most of the people will want to do it here in Portugal or not. But there's one thing about this activity that you need to be aware. If you are working for an Israeli company and you are abroad, you need to subscribe your insurance in Israel, not in Portugal. Okay, so regarding the professional, it's related to your activity, but it doesn't mean that you are working here, you need to have it here. You need to have in the country that you are performing and doing your activity, your professional activity. Okay, so this is the last topic, Asaf.
Yes, this was the last topic. And now I think that, of course, so whoever wants to reach out to Paulo, you're more than welcome to use the link in the chat, and you can also just scan this QR code, for whatever you need regarding insurances. And again, we are really inviting you to share with us any interesting opportunity, business opportunity, or attractive investment that you are aware of in Portugal, or whatever kind of service that you need during your relocation or your investment or your aspirations in Portugal. Feel free to share with us, and we will try to do our best to help you with that. So I think this is the time. If there's any question left, which I think we got it, basically most of them covered so far. חברים, אם יש לכם עוד שאלה כלשהו, משהו שאתם רוצים לשתף לגבי הביטוח שאתם צריכים, עושים, מה שאתם צריכים, תרגישו מאוד מאוד חופשי לשאול. בבקשה, אם יש משהו. Okay, seems like okay, Ori. Great meeting, thank you very much. Yes, thank you, Paolo, of course. חברים, אז אני שמח מאוד שככה הצלחנו לגעת בכל הדברים. Paolo, you did an amazing job. Seems like people are speechless. Yeah.
I speak too much.
Thank you so much.
No problem. By the way, Asaf, if by any reason someone wants to have some question or something and they don't want to call, just send a WhatsApp and I will come back to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Feel free to contact me. If I can help, I will do my best.
So we would appreciate getting your number. We just have the link on the page.
Okay, I will share it with you later, okay?
Thank you very much, and we really appreciate this conversation. It was very insightful.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your feedback.
Okay, חברים, thank you so much. לילה טוב לכולם, תודה רבה. שמרו על עצמכם.
תודה רבה.
Thank you so much. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
תודה. Thank you very much.
Thank you.